Lola here again. Filming from my backyard right now with my garden. And we're going to be talking about the rise of white supremacy in America and specifically what we're seeing in Ferguson with the lynchings and the killings of black activists there. I wanted to bring attention to the fact that this isn't a new occurrence. Of course, people know that in America, the lynching of black people has been very prevalent since slavery, and obviously it hasn't gone away today. But I want to make sure that we understand that this specifically the lynching and killings of black activists is deeply rooted in American history. So basically, what we know of most recently is that Donnie Jones was in Ferguson, and his mother, we know for sure, has been really involved with the Black Lives Matter movement there and standing up against the cops, and basically, the oppression that the people in Ferguson have been experiencing, specifically in communities of color. So recently, his mother found him in his backyard, lynched. Um, and she told this to the world through a Facebook post, which was taken down. But if you want to look it up, there's still images. Once you put something on the internet, it's always on the internet. And basically, the cops have ruled what happened as suicide. And this isn't surprising because there have been other black activists who have been killed in Ferguson, and the cops have also said that those murders were suicides. Um, and another reason why this isn't surprising is because cops are generally going to protect the crimes of white people. And we can absolutely attribute this to white people, white supremacy, especially considering that these murders were done to black activists. And it's nothing new. I want to make sure that we are super aware of that. And also, I think a lot of people believe that not all cops are bad. Some cops can be good. There's a huge issue with that type of thinking because in no way does the institution that cops end up protecting actually end up protecting like the masses of people. Cops are most likely going to be protecting the interests of the state, which is ruled by corporations, money, wealthy people. The state isn't run by working class people. We can sometimes slip into positions of power through elections, but everything that we achieve can be taken away in a different election cycle. So in no way can power be held continuously for the working class through elections in the state in a capitalist country, which is what we have in America. So I also want to bring attention to the fact that white supremacists have been infiltrating law enforcement for some time now. The FBI has even it's been known that the FBI has been investigating this, which is surprising to me because the FBI tends to spend most of its time investigating. It's never actually investigating the actual threats to the country. The threats to the country are, as we know, white supremacist. But as you know, with COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program, the FBI, CIA, they're all working against the rise of power that the masses can get through organizing. That's what we saw in Ferguson. The people there were recognizing that the state's not going to protect them, the cops aren't going to protect them. The only thing that can protect them is themselves working together. And we can see examples of this throughout history too, especially with the Black Panther Party and their ability to take power into their own hands by organizing and deciding to help their own people rather than hoping that the government will. Because as we know, the government exists, the state exists to keep the masses oppressed and keep power out of the hands of the masses. So my big takeaway from what's happening in Ferguson is that we are a threat. The working class people, especially black activists, are a threat, and we have been a threat for a while now. But at this point, I feel like we can't take it. We can't take it as serious. We can't not take it seriously. We're seeing our comrades, our fellow activists, being murdered, being sent to prison, etc., for simply asking for their basic rights. So we need to begin organizing against this, strengthening our bonds from city to city, from state to state, all over the country. As a nation of people, specifically Black people, we need to begin connecting in a way that makes us stronger, because power is in numbers. You can look at history with this. Communities where police brutality was the worst, black communities, and the black communities began to organize and arm themselves, have their own patrols of people watching the cops. Um, these are instances where the policing has gone down because the police are intimidated by large groups of people with guns, which is kind of, um, sounds a little radical to say, but it's the truth. You you have to fight power with power, and we have to understand that as working class people, our power comes from our numbers, and it comes from our ability to protect ourselves and to organize ourselves. So we have to recognize that. Um, Also, I wanted to urge people to begin taking steps to protect themselves. I am understanding from what's happening in the world now that I need to do this myself. I have recently been getting involved with activism, and I have a pretty public presence on this, so I understand that I am also a threat. So I'll be making videos about the steps I'm taking to protect myself, but on that list I have arming myself, of course, that's important, learning self-defense, making sure that you have a strong group of people who are going to be there for you. I recommend trying not to be alone too much, and just, being aware. Uh, these are things that I'm thinking that I can do, but I'll update you on things that I learned from my studying, and just looking at what's happening around the world. Um, but yeah, but also I feel like a big thing that we can do is build solidarity, know who your fellow organizers are, and build connections with them, because at the end of the day, people, your comrades are your friends, and the more comrades you can have involved in your life, I feel like the better. So, building up working class solidarity. And then as Marxists, we have to understand that these racial issues will not go away unless we fight the actual root cause, which is capitalism, and capitalism breeds racism, white supremacy. So, in order for us to ever get justice for all these victims of police brutality, white supremacy, we have to begin by dismantling the system that is oppressing us, and that is capitalism. And also, I want to mention some activists in the past who were involved in work like this, who also experienced persecution from the police, white supremacists. Malcolm X is a really awesome one. Learning about his political evolution has really been helpful for me, because he didn't always have the same beliefs that he had towards the end of his life. When he began to understand that his struggle wasn't just a black struggle, it was a working class struggle. And I feel like that's when he became most powerful. So Malcolm X is a great one to look into. Angela Davis, awesome one. She was a political prisoner, and she has a lot to say on how all struggles are linked together. Also, Martin Luther King is an incredible socialist activist, who has a lot to say on this. Fred Hampton was killed by the feds, so for being just a really powerful organizer with the Black Panther Party. Huey P. Newton, another Black Panther Party activist, George Jackson, specifically really incredible work with prisoners. He was a political prisoner and had his political awakening in prison. Also was murdered in prison because of how he was able to get people working together. Frantz Fanon and Bobby Seale are another activists you can look into if you want to learn more about this. And everything I said, you can find more information on it online. I definitely want to do more videos getting into the nitty gritty of like the little details of these things. But as a whole, activists need to start taking white supremacists seriously. We need to learn self-defense. We need to get organized, and specifically Black activists need to really understand that our lives are on the line. We get in work like this, and we can see that as proof through history. But the best thing we can do from seeing all this is to keep organizing and to get stronger. What they want us to do, white supremacists, the capitalist class, they want us to feel fear and to stop organizing and stop working together. And that's not what we're going to do. Obviously, we're going to keep working. We're going to keep building working class solidarity. We're going to practice tactics. We're going to build a revolution here in the imperial core. So white supremacists, be ready. Capitalist class, be ready. And solidarity to all my comrades. And in the face of all these tragedies, just know that communism will win. It's gonna win. It's inevitable. And that's it.